Hello, this is Forrest Price with your Monday Moments. And you don't know, this is actually part 2. Because again, this phone, the do not disturb, is supposed to block calls from coming in. And I got a phone call that cut off my video. But you guys don't know it. I usually just do a part 2, but no, I'm not going to do it. I'm starting all over. All right, so let's get right into my shout outs. Saturday, men's prayer breakfast, huge blessing. Pastor Kirkpatrick killed it, and I mean, he really spoke to the men. And the men came out. I was out there 6:30 in the morning. We were cooking. We had a great time. All the food was ready. Everything plan was perfect. Now, mind you, I had to leave early because I had the second event that day, the Lay Extravaganza, which was also a blessing, and I had to present for Evangelism Award, which went to a brother at New Philadelphia AME out in Long Beach. Well deserved. He wasn't able to make it, but my boy Carl Kazine took his plaque in his place, and I'm sure he's going to love it. It's well deserved. And a shout out to Jackie DuPont Walker, who got an award for Lifetime Achievement. Well deserved. She does so much. So that was my Saturday, and shout out to the men again, because we're going to be serving continental breakfast the entire month of December, which is 5 Sundays. We were able to use some of the leftovers from the prayer breakfast, so we did have some hot food. I know the kids who were down there were extremely happy to be having some hot food and not just the regular food and all the other stuff that come with a continental breakfast. But we have a small budget, so we have to do what we got to do. So another shout out to my girl Lynette McDuffie. Today is her birthday. I won't say her age, but believe me, she doesn't look her age. And I know my boy Ernest is going to hook her up and put a smile to her face. I know he better or he'll be in big trouble. So last shout out, my girl Ariana Kirk. I went to her pop-up event Saturday night after all the two, and I actually bought a couple of products from a couple of the other booths, and I tried one today. You can't smell it, but I did. So that was good. So thank you. Shout out her. She's going to get me my license plate cover, Miami Dolphins. So can't wait to get that. So this Thursday, I'm supposed to go play some golf. My boy's birthday. But forecast is saying thunderstorms Wednesday and Thursday. So that's kind of up in the air. But we're going to see. And actually, my first video got interrupted to tell me something I already knew about that. So they could have texted me. But that's okay. That is okay. Part 2 is going to be better than what part 1 would have been. All right, so let's go on to my rant. You know, 2 weeks ago, because I don't usually do rants, and if guys, y'all remember way back, the original title was Monday Rants, and then I got complaints. People didn't want to hear me rant, so I just changed it. I toned it down. And 2 weeks ago, I did 43 versus 45. It was probably the first rant I did in a long time where I basically talked and I probably raised my voice. And I might raise my voice on this one, because this is something, again, that's been in my crawl for years. And we hear it almost on a daily basis of how this is the greatest country in the world. We hear it all the time. And if you contradict it with actual facts, people will come at you like, oh, you're not American, or you should just move to another country. And, and I tell them, well, you know what? I served. They don't care. They don't care. It's our mindset. And we say other places of people are brainwashed. There are no more brainwashed people than the people in this country. We've been taught from day one this is the greatest country in the world, and we buy it. We buy it. We do. Now, mind, there are plenty of things that's great in this country. Even though the legal system is crazy, it's probably still the best one, and by far, I wouldn't even argue about that. But everything else, oh my God. So, you know me and my list. So, I try to get the most recent one. So, I got this one just out of the 40 biggest industrial countries. And see how we rank, since we are the best, right? No other country's better, right? All right, let's see. Educational performance, 17th. Ignorance, number 2. So only one country is more ignorant than the U.S. And they did like 7 different criteria. I didn't want to just put them on there. But yeah, and we're ignorant to the fact of a lot of things. Only one country is worse. We're 33rd in internet download speeds. And I believe it. Just look at how slow my computer is. We're 24th in literacy. 33rd in the acceptance of evolution. 29th in science. We're 14th in college graduation. We're 35th in math. We're 5th in teacher salary. Good job, teachers. All right. And we're number 1 in having the most foreign students, which might contradict what I'm saying. Because why would they all come if they don't? Okay. All right. Going on. We're 3rd in patents. So, well, that's a smart thing, but then again, those patents might suck. But we're still 3rd, so that's a good thing. We're 18th in reading. We're 37th in healthcare. Oh yeah, but we don't need healthcare, right? Right? We're 7th in cancer rates. And we're number 2 in children living in poverty. Poverty. Yeah, we're the best, right? I can go on and on, because there were tons of lists. So let's see, what are we number 1 in? I mean, number 1 out of everybody. Since we're the greatest, right? You can't contradict it. Can't argue about it. Can't do anything. You get into a big fight. What are we number 1 in? We're number 1 in violence and preparing for violence. The most violent country in the world. By far. Be proud of it. We're number 1 in military spending. And I'm not just talking about in the country. I'm talking globally. 37% of all military spending in the world is from the U.S. The next closest is China at 11%, and then Russia at 5%. No one spends more than we do. We're the number 1 weapons exporter. That means all the conflicts around the world, they get their guns from us. We maintain violence across the world, not just locally. We globally want everyone to shoot each other. Number 1 in international violence. We have by far the most guns out of any country. We have the most deaths by guns, but we don't need gun control, right? All right. It's the easiest one. Prisoners. We're number 1. Now, the U.S. only makes up 4.4% of the population of the world. Just about 4.5%. But we have 22% of the world's prisoners. Out of the entire global, 22% are in the U.S. prisoners. Goes back to our violence, goes back to our guns, go back to our violent mentality. But we're number 1. Yeah, who wouldn't want to live here, huh? All right. Let's go into the workforce. We're the only country that doesn't require workers' paid vacation. They don't have to pay if they don't want it. They don't require workers to pay sick days. Now, mind you, most big companies will do it. Most big companies will do it. But it's not a requirement. We consume the most calories. Yes, we're fatties. You know how many calories per average Americans per day? Now, when I lost the most weight is because I was under 2,000 calories a day. The average American eats 3,770 calories per day. 3,770 calories per day. Yeah. We spend more on healthcare than any other country. I wonder why. Our prescription drugs cost the most. I wonder why. We have the worst mortality rate out of, I went back to the 40 country thing, not just globally. Out of the 40 industrial countries. Number one, that means we have the most kids that are born and die on the same day. We have the worst traffic in the world. We had 6 out of the top 10 cities of the world were in the U.S. as far as traffic. And you know who was number one? Of course, L.A. And I experience every day. Tuition costs. Now, state-run, by far the worst in the world. Now, they went by private schools. U.S. was number 2. The U.K. had the most private school costs, but U.S. was number 2. And there were basically only 2 schools in the U.K. that really killed them out. So it wasn't really a fair comparison because it's a smaller percentage. But yeah, tuition. And I think the worst thing out of any industrial country, the distribution of wealth between the haves and the have-nots. No country is anywhere near the amount of how we create the super rich at the expense of everyone else. So yes, when I hear people rant and rave how this is the greatest country in the world, it makes me cringe. Now mind you, I wouldn't live anywhere else. Maybe I would if they spoke English. But, you know, I'm assimilated. I got a home. I ain't going nowhere. But I'm not going to sit here and have you lie and say something that's not true. It's not the greatest country in the world. It's not even close. Now, you're happy being here. You're content in your situation. But there are a lot of things wrong with this country. And instead of trying to browbeat me for telling you the truth, let's work on solutions to some of these problems. All right, that's my rant for today. And hopefully I'll have an interview for next week. So stay blessed. Again, you can follow me on Facebook, Forrest Price, my YouTube channel, Forrest Price, Monday Moments, and on Instagram, rprice4409. See you guys next Monday.